What's poppin', Diggletdreamers? You got Mathras back for another video. This time it's a bit of a simpler one, just a draft overview video. So hold on. So this league, it kind of has an official name. The problem is that I was challenged to do this title, the one you see before you on my video, and it is CMLBTNWMISDTHN League, which stands for Chill Matt League. But the name wasn't Matt's idea, so don't think he's a narcissist. Don't think he's narcissistic. Yeah, that was the idea. The first few ideas for the name were Chill Matt League, and I was like, no, we can't do that. That makes me sound like I'm narcissistic. And then they were like, okay, well, how about we do this one? We're not gonna. This isn't gonna be the real name of the league. It's gonna be something else. I think CDL, Chill Draft League. I think that might be the real name, but I promised that I would actually do this for one of mine. So here it is. So now that the inside joke for everyone is done, let's get into the draft. So this league is just RU tier and below, which is part of why I was so excited to be a part of it, so I can keep all that OU UU crap off my channel. But no, it's my personal favorite tier, and so I was pretty excited to start this off. So the idea was there wasn't any limits on what you could draft or how many points you have for your draft. We each get 11 Pokemon, either RU tier or below, and that is the only rules. Also, side note, I have been unable to track down my old Boston Weasels logo, so I just made this little new one right here. Hopefully that's still cool. Doesn't have an actual weasel on it, but I couldn't find a good one that worked. Anyway, let's move on. So my first draft pick. I promised that I would draft this in a previous moment with some of my friends that are in the league. It is Lycanroc-Dusk. If you've been watching my Lighthouse series, if you haven't, feel free to check the thing at the top of the screen now. But I've been having a lot of fun with this Pokemon in the RU tier. And it's a really solid sweeper, better than you might think. Swords Dance basically makes it really, really good. And I think one of the best things that it gets is Accelerock. It's a really fast speed tier, 112 is its base speed. And so it's outspeeding a lot of Pokemon, but there are a lot of Pokemon that do outspeed it. But all those Pokemon, namely Noivern, Salazzle, Sneasel, Pokemon that I'm thinking of that have been drafted that are in the RU tier, are Pokemon that don't like to take Accelerock. So if I'm running a Life Orb set, I'm pretty sure all of those Pokemon will go down to an Accelerock, maybe not even boosted. I don't have the Calyx in front of me, but that's what I'm saying. Accelerock is really good in this meta. There's a lot of Pokemon that don't enjoy taking that, and then to have that normal speed on its own, to be able to hit with Stone Edges and Drill Runs and other stuff like that. Fire Fang that comes to mind. Very, very nice Pokemon to have on the team. So of course it gets a lot of other utility things, it does get Stealth Rocks, even though it's not the best Stealth Rock setter around. It does get it, as well as Taunt. It gets that. It does get some other priority moves like Sucker Punch, and then it does have a pretty solid array of coverage moves. It gets Fire Fang, it gets Iron Head, of course Drill Run I already mentioned. It gets Crunch, and this is one of my Z Mons. So you're only allowed to choose 2 of your Pokemon that you can use Z moves on, and this was my first one. So I can, if I choose so, put a super powerful one-time nuke, depending on the team that I'm going against. If I need a nice Corkscrew Crash or an Iron Head, or a Black Hole Eclipse with Crunch, I think it can be really useful. But then of course there is the Stone Edge Z, Lycanium Z Splintered Storm Shards, which is just a big nuke on its own. And the ability Tough Claws. People underestimate that, but it is a really solid ability, giving boosts to things like Accelerock and Drill Run, Fire Fang, all that stuff. I wish it got a better rock move that it would make contact with other than Stone Edge, but what can you say? So next, I decided to draft Mandibuzz. Ooh, that is a blurry picture. I'm sorry. Mandibuzz is probably one of the best defensive Pokemon in the tier. It's really solid speed. For a defensive Pokemon, able to outspeed a lot of other defensive Pokemon, and of course getting access to the move Taunt. One of my favorite moves, if you haven't realized yet. Able to taunt like other slow defensive Pokemon, toxic them, foul play, knock off to kind of like whittle them down really easily, and then really solid defenses, able to take some big hits. Rocky Helmet, definitely a viable item for this Pokemon. Can obviously be changed. Like I can change the speed EVs and defense EVs depending on the matchup and stuff like that. So I think Mandibuzz is going to be a very solid Pokemon on the team, and I'm glad I picked it round 2. And third, I picked Golisopod, huge offensive threat in this tier. First impression, of course, huge thing, gotta mention. +3 priority, huge power, like very strong bug move. Knocks out things like Virizion, Psychic types, like Sneasel. I know I'm thinking a lot about my first week matchup where my opponent has Sneasel, so sorry I keep bringing up Sneasel. It's not the most common RU Pokemon. But yeah, really cool Pokemon, really strong, gets a lot of priority moves aside from first impression, like Aqua Jet, gets Sucker Punch. I think that might be it though. And then of course Liquidation and Leech Life are huge stab moves. It does get some good coverage moves as well, like I've heard Rock Slide be used on this thing, as well as a few other things, but I don't know. Also gets Spikes, which is pretty cool. Great hazard setter. It gets Swords Dance and Bulk Up as both like setup options, which are pretty cool. And in general, just a really good defenses too, like really strong physical defense is a pretty good answer to things, to like ground types, like I'm thinking Zygarde 10%. What are the ground types, like Rhyperior maybe? Not rock types, but yeah. And then items like Insect Plate is definitely something that's been run, boosting that first impression. Choice Band, definitely an option, power up first impression, as well as like Aqua Jet and stuff like that. And then Citrus Berry has been a more recent trend. So basically, like if you're knocked into emergency exit range, then the Citrus Berry keeps you from going out, which can be really nice sometimes, especially if your opponent expects you to be emergency exited out. Yeah, it's a very solid pick. I'm very happy with my first 3 picks. And next, I got even happier with Nidoqueen with another blurry image. I'm so sorry. Nidoqueen, very good Pokemon. Super, like, all around just well balanced, like decent speed, very strong special attack. Of course, the Life Orb Sheer Force boosts. Gets very good coverage. Like, aside from its stab of Sludge Wave and Earth Power, it also gets Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, which is like, you don't really need much more than that. And then of course it gets a lot of good utility options like Taunt, Stealth Rock, Toxic Spikes, which are all very useful things to have on the team. And yeah, I'm just pretty happy about this. Able to take a hit as well as dish it back, and that's what makes Nidoqueen so awesome. So why don't we get this blurry image off the screen? We don't need to talk about it anymore. You know what? I have done Lighthouse episodes on all 4 of these Pokemon so far, so if you do want to check those out, I recommend you check out the Lighthouse series on the playlist. It will be at the top of the video. Alright, Florges, another one that I've done Lighthouse on, and another blurry image. Anyway, I don't think I need to tell you, if you're familiar with competitive Pokemon, you know Florges is a good defensive Pokemon. But it does get access to Defog, so this is my second form of hazard control after Mandibuzz. Also very good Cleric for the team, gets the Wish, Aromatherapy, Heal Bell as options. And also not that weak, you know, like it has decent speed tier and really strong special attack, so if opponent's weak to fairy, like they're not going to enjoy switching in on a Moonblast from this thing. You can run leftovers, but also there's Pixie Plate to be able to boost that special attack. And with enough speed, it's able to outspeed a lot of the slower threats in the tier. Like even like I don't even need to be fully invested in speed to outspeed things like Machamp and Beware and Pangoro. I think even like a Adamant Honchkrow maybe. I don't know. That just seems right in my head. But of course, Florges, outside of its offensive capabilities, is very defensive. Has a nice natural special bulk, as well as I can kind of add some physically defensive EVs in there to kind of make it more well-rounded. And then it does get access to Synthesis, so if I don't want to have it as like a Wish Passer, it does have its own recovery as well, which is not bad. Don't need to run Wish Protect, I could just run Synthesis, so it opens up another move slot. It's probably not going to happen, but there's the potential of like a Calm Mind sweep or something. It definitely needs the right matchup. Like it needs to have like no poison types or something. No, it does get Psychic, so like a Calm Mind, Synthesis, Moonblast Psychic could be a thing. But there's also like Energy Ball or Giga Drain too. I think I think it does get Energy Ball, but yeah, really cool Pokemon. Glad I picked it up. And it's going to be a great part of the defensive core of my squad. And then next, Toxicroak, one of my favorite Pokemon in general, and really good Pokemon in the tier. And there goes a train. But of course, Toxicroak, very good offensively with Swords Dance or Nasty Plot. I think both sets are very viable. I think, of course, the priority Sucker Punch with the Swords Dance set, and then the priority Vacuum Wave with the Nasty Plot set. I do particularly like Vacuum Wave because of its stab as well. And then, of course, Gunk Shot, Drain Punch, very solid stabs. And then it does get Shadow Ball as another coverage for the special offensive sets. Does enjoy things like Black Sludge, Life Orb as items, and but yeah, other than that, like it's not just offensive. Like it does have some good defensive prowess as well. Obviously, Dry Skin lets it take any water moves, so I don't need to worry about like Scald Burns. Can take on defensive water types like Milotic, Vaporeon. Is that? I can't really. Maybe with the right set, it can take on a Blastoise. But it. Speaking of Blastoise, like a big offensive, bulky threat in the tier, it can run something like an Assault Vest, more bulky set to take on something like that, because the problem with Blastoise, especially like in the ladder, Blastoise doesn't typically run Water Stab, and then like an Ice Beam from Mega Blastoise still does a hell of a lot to like a max special, or to a max attack Toxicroak, but with the right investment, like Assault Vest with good spread, could take it on fairly well. So very interesting Pokemon, very excited to have it on the team and see what it can do. And this is the first Pokemon that I haven't covered yet in the Lighthouse, but that's because I'm only on like, well, the next one's coming up are Ninetales and Noivern, so it'll be a little while before I get to T Toxicroak. Anyway, the Lighthouse is alphabetical order series that I'm going through the whole tier of RU. If you haven't caught on to my drift yet. Speaking of the devil, there's Ninetales. This was, what number was this? Like, I think this is 7th. I think my 7th pick. I wanted a fire type because I didn't have one yet, and I think someone picked the one I wanted. Yeah, someone picked Arcanine like the first few rounds because that's a solid Pokemon. And as much as I wanted it myself, I was like, no, I gotta pick Lycanroc. And then Ninetales was still available. Very good, especially offensive Pokemon. Obviously, this sets the sun up, which can be nice. Probably won't want to run Ninetales and Toxicroak on the same team. But obviously, with access to Nasty Plot, boosted special attack to very good levels. Solid speed tier. And even like solid special defense, especially defensive bulk. Like it can definitely take a hit, and even if I set up the sun, it can probably take on the occasional water type. Obviously, Fire Blast and Solar Beam are its main attacks, but it can obviously run a nice like hidden power ice for certain threats or another kind of hidden power, and then there's also some good coverage moves like Psyshock is definitely solid, and then another idea is Overheat. It's also a very solid move. I could run like a choice specs Overheat, like there's not a lot that's gonna switch into that in the sun. So pretty cool Pokemon, very excited about it. And the Lighthouse episode for this will probably come out like tomorrow, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. I know this whole draft is just me like promoting my Lighthouse series. And then look at that, another super blurry photo of Rhyperior. I could not believe this Pokemon was still around in like the 8th round of this pick. It's such a good Pokemon, such great defenses. Well, physically defensive, but the cool thing is you can invest a lot into special defense and make it just like a very bulky Pokemon. And then it still has enough attack to put in some work too. So like obviously Earthquake, Stone Edge, or Rock Blast, like Ground and Rock is such good coverage. Back in the day, it used to be Edgequake was like you could hit everything with Earthquake and Stone Edge. Those it's like the opposite to Bolt Beam, the Ice Beam Thunderbolt set. So yeah, I don't know. I'm an old man. Rhyperior obviously gives me Stealth Rocks. I could also use it as either a specially or physical offensive wall. Take on threats like non-HP Grass, Salazzle. Take on things like Noivern. What else? I don't know. It's a good Pokemon, and it hits hard. Obviously, Rock Blast and Earthquake are probably going to be my main attacking moves. And then, yeah, leftovers probably. I mean, imagine like a weakness policy Rock Polish set. Just basically take a hit and then Rock Polish up at the same time. Get basically like a Shell Smash Rhyperior. So watch out for that. That might come up someday, because like Rhyperior is really, really strong, and against the right team, like against like a good slow team with a Rock Polish up, it's probably just gonna end someone's day, and that's pretty great. That's why I love Rhyperior. The only thing I'll say is that it's, especially in the league format, it's something I need to watch out for. Water type and grass type, like hidden power, because I could definitely they could slap that onto someone's team if they don't really need like hidden power ice or something, or hidden power fire. Like, so I need to watch out for that. There's going to be a lot of scouting going on during these battles. So, what else was I going to say? I don't know. Oh yeah, but speaking of, that's why I like something like those berries. Like I think Wakon Berry is either the water or grass one, don't quote me on that, but just the berries that reduce those kinds of attacks will be really nice. Yeah, so that's it. That's Rhyperior. Up next was Espeon. Look at that clean, crisp image there. I was pretty happy to get this one late in the draft too. Obviously, Magic Bounce is great, able to bounce back hazards on the right predictions. I could bounce back some Stealth Rock or something. But of course, I do need to watch out because Espeon is, of course, not the bulkiest Pokemon in the world. And if it's on the team, it is possible that they predict it to come in on the hazards and just go for an attack instead. So I need to watch out for that. But Espeon is a very solid like Scarfer or a Specs user. Obviously, it does get access to Trick, which can cripple more slower, bulky walls and stuff like that. That might want to switch in on Espeon. Other great things it gets is like Calm Mind. Stored Power is a possibility. But like something like a Calm Mind Morning Sun set would be pretty solid with like Psychic and Dazzling Gleam, depending on the matchup. Obviously, that's the cool thing about Espeon is depending on the matchup, I can run the appropriate coverage moves. So like Shadow Ball or Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Zap Cannon if I wanted to try that. But unfortunately, Espeon's not my other Z move user, so Zap Cannon's probably not going to come out too often unless I feel super confident in my ability for Espeon to take something out. Maybe I'll run Scope Lens Espeon with Zap Cannon. No, let's not promise something we can't deliver on. But yeah, I like Espeon. Very solid Pokemon, strong offensively, as well as the of course the Magic Bounce is probably the highlight of it as a Pokemon. Great speed tier as well, so definitely a great Pokemon to have on the team. And then up next, Vikavolt. I needed an electric type, and things like Raikou had already been taken. I think Ampharos had already been taken, so I was not upset at all to get this Pokemon. Really strong special attack. Of course, the slow speed is an issue, but I think it can be remedied with enough investment. And then, of course, it does get agility, if you didn't know. But really cool Pokemon. I think it has some very good options defensively as well. Obviously, with the ability to levitate, it's able to take on a lot of ground types. The kind of thing that a lot of electric types wouldn't normally be able to do, which is pretty cool. And you know, Bug Buzz and Thunderbolt hit really hard, and it does get some solid coverage moves like Energy Ball. It does get Volt Switch as well as an option. It does get Roost too, which is like so cool. Like makes it so much better. Like a Life Orb 3 attacks Roost set has done well for me in the past. But I also do like something more along the lines of like a defensive Roost set. It could be very solid to take on. I'm thinking like Flygon. Like I could take on Flygon with a defensive set. I probably shouldn't have said that because that's my first week I'm up against Flygon. But I mean, it takes on other things as well. Like obviously Flygon could run like Fire Punch or something. Take out Vikavolt. Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking. I'm not going to spoil any of my ideas. I think defensive Vikavolt could be cool. And of course it does have, like, the cool thing about it is it's so strong, especially that even without investment, it's still strong and it could knock out things, which is really cool. And then my last pick. So this is my 10th pick. My last pick, I decided to go with Whimsicott. Did I have a grass type already? Oh my god, I'm already forgetting my entire draft. I don't think I have a grass type. Yeah, I don't have a grass type. So this is my first grass type. I knew I wanted a grass type, and I was thinking about Venusaur because I do have Ninetales, but I felt like Venusaur would be too situational. Like I would basically have to bring it with Ninetales if I wanted it to be a solid threat. But Whimsicott, especially to my playstyle, I think it feeds into my playstyle so much better. Like it's useful outside of the sun. It does get chlorophyll if I want to try that, but its speed tier alone is great. I think it's like 114 is its speed tier. I could be off though. Maybe like 124. I don't know. I'm speaking out of my head right now, and it's not something I should do. But obviously another fairy type is very good. It's like a choice specs or Life Orb set is pretty strong, and it's tough to switch into like an Energy Ball Moonblast combo. Can take out a lot of Pokemon, which is really cool. And it does get, I think the best part about it, of course, you probably already know, is a Prankster. And a lot of the great utility moves that it gets. Like one of my favorites, of course, Taunt. It does get Encore, and one of my other favorites is Tailwind. Very nice Pokemon. Leech Seed, of course, is definitely there. I'm probably not going to use that too much, but it is there. Just need to watch out for dark types because obviously Prankster doesn't work on dark types. But of course, this is my other Z move user, so something like a Z Memento could come out, which would be pretty cool. Just set up, give me something and a whole opportunity to set up all over again. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Whimsicott. I think it's going to be a great addition to the team. And I'm excited I got it as my last pick, too, because I feel like throughout this whole draft, I just kept getting good picks. So I'm pretty happy about this team. And the first week of the league starts this weekend, and it's already this weekend. So expect a battle to come within the next few weeks. Within the next week or so. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do live or not, or post commentary, but expect like a team builder with prior to the actual battle. So if you guys want to weigh in, what would you rather see, like a live battle of the league, or would you rather me do post-com and kind of take it slower and kind of go over the teams, go over like each turn a little bit more in depth? I don't know. If you have any opinion, I'm leaning towards doing the post-com because it would just be easier for me to make more time available to actually have the battle, so I don't have to like set up the recording every time, and then it just gives me like a lot easier to work on my schedule. But if you guys would like to see it live, let me know, and I can definitely probably arrange that. So thank you guys for watching. Let's go all the way back to this is the Boston Weasels, the CMLBTNWMISDTHN, and of course the L stands for league. If you're excited, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with all the future team builders and videos of what's coming up next. So it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And how do I do this shit? Oh god.